Do you love the look of chalkboard art but don't want to deal with the mess? Then, chalk pens are a great alternative. They allow you to write and draw on surfaces like chalkboards and glass, but they can be erased easily if you make a mistake. In this blog post, we will answer the question, are chalk pens erasable? Why do we use chalk markers and chalk pens? Chalk pens are a great way to write on chalkboards, glass, and other non-porous surfaces. They are also erasable, making them perfect for presentations and classrooms. Chalk markers, on the other hand, are perfect for porous surfaces. They come in a variety of colors and can be used to write on everything from chalkboards to fabric. Both chalk pens and markers are available in multiple tip sizes, so you can choose the one that is best suited for your needs. Chalk pens typically have a larger tip size than markers, which makes them better for writing on chalkboards. Markers, however, are great for drawing or painting small objects and can be used to write on almost anything. Are chalk pens erasable? Yes, chalk pens are erasable. They are perfect for writing on chalkboards, blackboards, and other non-permanent surfaces. In addition, the ink is water-soluble so that it can be easily erased with a wet cloth or sponge. Are chalk markers the same as chalk pens? Chalk markers are permanent pens for use on non-porous surfaces. They should not be mistaken for chalk pens, which are pastels used to create drawings on paper. Are chalk markers erasable on chalkboards? The ink in chalk markers is designed to be permanent and cannot be erased with an eraser. However, some people have reported success removing the ink with rubbing alcohol or nail polish remover. Test an inconspicuous area before beginning your project if you are concerned about making a mistake. Can I use a damp cloth to erase chalk pen? Yes, you can use a damp cloth to erase chalk pen. However, depending on the ink used in that chalk pen and its quantity, you may be able to erase it completely. If you don't have a damp cloth or don't want to use one, then using tape is another way of erasing. What is Clean Magic Eraser? Clean Magic Eraser is an absorbent foam block that's used to clean surfaces. The white side is for light cleaning, and the blue side is for heavy-duty cleaning. It's gentle enough to use on most surfaces, including wood, laminate, ceramic tile, marble, stainless steel, and glass. How can Clean Magic Eraser be used with chalk pens? It is possible to use a Clean Magic Eraser with chalk pens, but it is important to test the method on a small, inconspicuous area of the surface before applying it to the entire surface. Also, if the eraser leaves any residue or damage on the surface, it is best not to use it. What chalkboard cleaner can be used for chalk pens? Chalkboard cleaner can be used to erase chalk pens. The eraser on the end of a chalkboard cleaner works great for this purpose. However, it is important to check the ingredients of the cleaner to make sure it is safe to use on chalk pens. For example, some cleaners may contain chemicals that could damage the ink in chalk pens. What is liquid chalk marker? Liquid chalk markers are pens that write with a non-permanent, water-based liquid chalk. They are designed to be used on non-porous surfaces such as glass, metal, plastic, and whiteboard. The ink is removable with a wet cloth or paper towel. Chalk markers versus traditional chalk markers? Chalk markers are non-toxic, water-based dye sticks that write clearly on most surfaces. They're great for everything from decorating at home to teaching in the classroom. However, traditional chalk is powdery and messy, making it harder to create clear lines or thickly fill large areas of a board. Chalk markers are often preferred over whiteboards because they reproduce colors more accurately than traditional chalk can. Here's why. Color dyes dissolve completely in the alcohol base whereas chalk particles don't, so traditional powdered chalks make delicate pastel colors appear unnatural by giving them an artificially bright tinge which quickly fades away as the chalky residue wears off over time. Why is the surface so important as it relates to chalk pens? The surface is important because it will affect how the chalk pen writes. If the surface is too rough, the pen won't glide smoothly and will create a messy result. On the other hand, a smooth surface is ideal so that the ink flows evenly and creates a neat finish. Difference between porous and non-porous as it relates to chalk pens? Porous chalk pens are great for large areas that need to be marked. However, they are not erasable/rubbable with one exception, that is, if the surface is non-porous, for example, glass. A porous product will make marks on surfaces like tiled or metal countertops or floors. These marks may be removed by joint compound, sanding, scraping, muriatic acid. There are endless ways of getting rid of pen lines. A non-porous material will prevent content from gouging into the surface and then lifting off with joint compound or sanding. Also, there won't be chalks visible on the other side. painting over counters doesn't work well since color gets underneath sink edge. Ghosting of chalk markers? Ghosting of chalk markers is the term used to describe the fading of chalk marker ink after it has been applied to a surface. It usually occurs when the surface is porous and absorbs some of the ink. This can happen on smooth surfaces as well, but it's less likely because they don't absorb much liquid. The amount of ghosting depends on how pigmented the chalkboard paint was before application and if there were any other factors such as heat exposure. What does chalkboard labels mean? Chalkboard labels are a type of labeling that uses chalk to write on the surface. This is a more traditional way to label items and is becoming less popular with the advent of technology. However, it's still used in some settings, such as schools, because it can be erasable and children can write on them. Chalk labels are also a great way to label items you want to sell or give away. You can find chalkboard labels in stores, but they are usually more expensive because of their popularity and the fact that most people purchase them for specific purposes. So instead, you can use your computer to create your own chalk labels with software programs such as Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Publisher, or even Photoshop. You can also find free templates online. When creating your labels, be sure to use a font that will show up well on a chalkboard surface. Some good fonts to use are Comic Sans MS, Tahoma, Arial Black, and Impact. Also, be sure to make your text big enough, so it's easy to read. If you're giving your labels away as a gift, consider adding some embellishments such as clip art or borders. This will make them look more professional and special. You can also print out your labels on sticker paper, so they're easy to apply. When using chalkboard labels, be sure to use a soft, white piece of chalk. This will help your text show up better on the label. If you're having trouble reading what's written on your label, try rubbing it off with a piece of sandpaper and start over. Chalkboard labels are a great way to add some personality to your labeling projects. Can chalk pens be used on all types of writing board? Chalk pens can be used on all types of writing boards. They are perfect for creating colorful presentations, writing on windows or boards, and more. Can chalkboard paint be used on both chalk markers and chalk pens? Yes, chalk paint can be used on both chalk markers and chalk pens. However, the paint will need to be an oil-based paint in order to adhere to the markers and pens. Latex or acrylic paints will not work. Water-based paints will work on traditional chalkboards but not on markers or pens. Can chalk pens be used on a lead board? Chalk pens can be used on a LED board, but they may not erase as easily as other pens. LED boards have a special surface that is designed to resist ink, so chalk may not erase as easily as other pens. However, the chalk will still leave a mark on the board, and it can be seen from a distance. If you are looking for a pen that will write clearly and erase easily, then you should consider using an erasable marker instead. Can chalk pens be used on slate surfaces? Yes, chalk pens can be used on slate surfaces. They are perfect for writing or drawing on blackboard-like surfaces and provide a nice, clean look. Other surfaces. Chalk pens can also be used on other non-porous surfaces, such as glass or metal. Just make sure the surface is dry before you start writing. What are some examples of a porous surface? Some examples of a porous surface are papier-mâché, pastry cloths, sponges, and unglazed ceramics. Porous surfaces absorb liquids and allow them to be spread out evenly. This is why they're often used for painting and drawing, as the ink or paint can be distributed more evenly. In conclusion, chalk pens are erasable with a damp cloth, though some pigment may remain. If you want to get rid of any remaining pigment, use a slightly wetter cloth to erase the markings. However, if you are using a chalk pen on a non-porous surface like glass or metal, then you can't erase it at all. So if you are using a chalk pen for decorative purposes, make sure the surface is compatible with erasing. Chalk pens are great for drawing attention to important points or making temporary signs. They come in various colors so that you can choose the right one for your needs. Just make sure that the surface you're writing on is compatible with erasing.